And hello there for the second episode of the Partybox 100 upgrades, modifications, and also teardown. So in the first video, we went through how to open the Partybox 100 and how to get access here to the internal parts. So now in the second video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through with the upgrade procedure, where we're gonna improve the battery lifetime of the Partybox 100. And first of all, a big shout out to Buddy Casino on Reddit. Without this guy, it would not have been possible to even create this video or even for me to do these upgrades. So again, big shout out to him because he's also one of the initial inventors of these upgrades. Like, he also got the idea based on another Reddit post to do this upgrade. But yeah, if it wasn't for his replies and it wasn't for his Reddit post, where he also went through detailed upgrade steps and all stuff, this would not have been possible. So what are the possible upgrades? First of all, there are three possible ways. The first one is on the side here, we have 4 batteries in there. These are 18650 batteries, which are well known to be high capacity batteries. So those are not the ones you buy in the supermarket, but the ones you have to order from special places. And these have a capacity of 2500 milliamperage per hour. You could go there and order online some higher capacity batteries. I think currently the highest ones on the market are 3500. That would be an improvement of 30%. Meaning you would get around 50 to 70 minutes additionally battery lifetime. If that's okay with you, then that would maybe be my suggestion. However, warning, this should only be done if you know what you're doing with these kinds of batteries, because as these batteries are high capacity, they are also a little bit more dangerous and explosive. So you should be aware of what you're doing and how these kinds of batteries work, and also what kind of precaution you do. Otherwise, you could easily destroy the whole speaker. The second option is you kind of just upgrade here the batteries from 4 series to additional batteries that you then put in parallel. And then you have in the bottom additionally storage space where you then could hide those batteries. There is a YouTube video out there, you probably easily find that one, where one guy made it possible with I think 3 or 4 additionally battery packs to that one. And yeah, again, that is also not a solution where you should know what these 18650 batteries are and how you securely add them to the party box without them blowing up, because yeah, again, they're very dangerous. Not that they're dangerous, like if a professional does it, but if you don't know what you do, you could really mess things up. And the third one, so the first two they are pretty half or destructive. That is a nice term, as Buddy Casino mentioned it. But the third method here, which I prefer also because it is the one least destructive and the one that requires least knowledge, is to hook this party box up to an external power source. So what does this now mean? If we look down here, this is usually where you put in your cable in, and that is like AC 230 volts. That then goes up here, in here to this black and red cable, goes into this converter, and then from this converter comes out here on this cable down here. Let me just put down the lights. From the cable, from the converter, comes down here, out there, goes up here, and goes into this connection. Then from this connection, it goes onto the board to this pot. And what is it now that this converter does? Well, this converter converts the AC 230 volts to DC static, like the current is always the same, to 22.78 voltage. So what you can do here is, by removing this cable here that we get from down here, and then providing another cable that we then connect here. So we have to buy new things. That we put a new cable in here. We take the cable all the way out here. We put it down here, and then we put some kind of like on the outside panel here, on this outside panel. So we have to make a hole here that we put some, where do I have it? Some DC plug like these ones. There we go. So that we have one of these DC plugs in there, so that with an external battery, that we can hook this one up from the outside and charge the Partybox on the go with an external battery. Now, there are some things that we need to keep in mind here. This is one of the more expensive upgrades. So the battery here, I would say you're probably gonna be between $20 to $30, depending on what battery quality you're getting. If we're going for the one multiple additional packs there, I don't even know how much that's gonna cost, but that's also probably gonna be above $50, $60. And the one here, that is where, depending on what equipment you already have, it's gonna be between 60 to 100 bucks. But again, that is depending on what equipment you already own. And what equipment do we need for this kind of upgrade? I'm going through with you through all the equipment that we have here. And I have some additional equipment that is not like a required thing. I just went like one step extra for safety. And I also had a lot of feedback with Buddy Casino on Reddit about that, where he mentioned that he didn't put extra safety in it, and I trust also his knowledge. I'm just like very cautious about these things. So what is it that we first of all need? The most important things. We need this cable adapter here. So this cable here, or this adapter, I'm also, just FYI, I'm also gonna link to Betty Casino's Reddit post, so you also have maybe some knowledge from his Reddit post. So we need this adapter, and thanks to Buddy Casino, he figured out that this is a JST-X, JST-XA 2.54 millimeter. So what is a JST adapter or connector? Well, these are somehow, as much as understood, Japanese connector. And you have multiple versions of connection. So if you go to Wikipedia, you probably see maybe that XA means some kind of category, but don't get misled by the categories on Wikipedia because they are erroneous. So what it actually here means is that the XA is a special type of connection model. So it is different than the one very, very common XH. I think XH has some clips here on the side, but the XA is a very, very rare connection. I was looking through Amazon, AliExpress, eBay. I couldn't find it anywhere except the link that Buddy Casino luckily provided on his Reddit post. So I went ahead, I bought this package, and just FYI, it needs to be a 6-pin, because here we have 6 pins on this one. As you can see, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and also here a 6-pinner. So it needs to be a 6-pin. You buy them here in the package from Amazon. I'm also going to put down the link of it in the description. And FYI, all equipment that you should have or could buy from Amazon that I'm probably going to use or that you should use, I'm putting those down in the description. A link to Amazon Germany. Not sure if you could get it somewhere else in the world. And those are going to be affiliate links. So it would be nice if you're going to buy them from Amazon to also use the link, because then I'm getting also some percentage of the purchase. So what's happening here is you buy then this box, and this box has 3 different pin categories, like the 5-pin, 6-pin, and 7-pin. So what we're going to use here is we're only going to use one single 6-pin. On top of that, in this box, you then also get these kind of metal braces or whatever you call them, in order to take a cable, then put them inside these braces, and then you somehow click them in. I never tried that before. I don't have a special tweezer for that. And again, thanks to Buddy Casino, I asked him, and he didn't use any kind of special tweezers either. What he did is he just soldered them to these tweezers. So what I'm probably also going to do is, tweezers, he's just soldered them to these braces. So what I'm probably also just going to do here is I'm going to take these braces, I'm going to put them in there and just manually tweeze them a little bit in. And then I'm going to solder them each one just in a little bit, and that should probably do it there. So the second thing that you then need is a lot of cable, like cable that you maybe have lying around, cable that you don't need anymore, because we somehow need to bring additional cable from the top to down here, because this is probably like the biggest space we have on the party box at the bottom where we can put additionally plugs into. So I had a couple of cords lying around. However, I wasn't sure if those would actually fit or suit this scenario, so I went to the electronics store and actually bought some of these. And if I'm not wrong, these are 2mm cables. So yeah, that's also up for you. If you have some cables lying around, that would then also be great for you. The third thing that we require, that is then here the C plug. This is, what are these called again? Is it a 5.5 to 2, like 5.5? Let me just quickly Google 5.5 and 2.5 DC plug. Yes, there we go. So this is, and I think it should also be should say somewhere here. Nope, doesn't say anywhere here. But yeah, these are then these very basics 5.5 to 2.5 DC plugs. That the ones I bought are special ones because I can put them inside a hole, and then I can screw them on the other side to fix them. And at the same time, because the party box, as we all know, is not waterproof, but at the same time, they provided this kind of plastic things that I can put around here. And let me just put this one around here. So that we can put around here. And then if we don't need it, that we can close it and make it waterproof in this case then. So that is a nice thing here. But yeah, so a DC plug is then required. I mean, it's not required, but it's up to you how you want to connect the cable from here to get it outside to whatever power source you're going to use. The third thing, and probably the most important thing of this whole setup then, is the power source. What is important about your power source, that is, it needs to be a power bank or whatever charger you use, and it should be between 20 and 25, 26 voltage. Why so high, why so low, and why does it have to be this specific? Well, the thing is, if you already going for an external power source, then what happens with the party box, and this is something I have not tested yet, but this is something I read online, is that when it runs on the batteries, the Partybox 100 runs on 14.4 voltage. Whenever the board, the logic board in the top here, receives 14.4 voltage, it goes into some kind of power saving mode, so a reduced performance mode or something like that, which means lower volume, lower bass, lower party. However, when we get from here the DC in there, we get 22.4 volt, 22.78 voltage here. And everything above 20 voltage, the Partybox somehow then realizes, well, I'm on DC, I just can waste energy as I wish, and then it goes in high power, high performance. So more volume, more bass, more party. So that is the advantage of this modification, that when you use an external power bank, here I have the base US 65 watt power bank with 20,000 milliampere hour, and yeah, it has some kind of USB-C, micro USB, and then 2 USB basic ones. So this is then our power source that we use, and this one has an output of 20 voltage from the USB-C. So since we're going to make use of this 20 voltage, and I think it is 20 voltage and 3.5 amperage, so since we're going to make use of this, but we have a DC plug here, we then also need somehow something to convert the USB-C to the DC plug, and that is where this thing comes into the game. This is a DC plug. I think you call this a male to a female USB-C plug. So what's probably then going to happen is I'm going to stick this one in here into our DC plug. So we have then a female USB-C plug here, and then I easily can put the battery pack here onto the speaker, run it on this battery pack, and when this one is empty, it's going to take over on then the power saving mode with the internal battery packs, and that's probably going to give us 7, 8, maybe 12 hours. I haven't tested it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised that if we go from 2,500 milliamperage per hour to 20,000 milliamperage per hour on high performance, that we get something above 10 hours lifetime or something. So yeah, these are the basic things. What would we need additionally to make it even better or to have a good thing? So again, these are just optional plus things that you can do, but since we're gonna remove this part, the converter, I haven't looked into it. I would be surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some kind of safety in here, that if something in here fucks up with the external power, that it wouldn't like burn the logic board. Now, since we're removing this part and we're going totally over here to the battery pack, we were kind of like removing the security that we have from there. And yeah, we like it's lost. It's not totally lost, because usually battery packs like these ones, or this is not like, this is not a battery pack, this is a power bank, a proper power bank. So a proper power bank, they usually have built-in security for overvoltage, for short circuit, and so on and so forth. But just to take it one step further, because what in the case that we're not using the battery pack, but we're hooking this one up directly to the AC with a 20 voltage charger or something like that. What could these 20 volt chargers be? Well, it could be like your MacBook Pro charger that has an output of 20 volt and 5 amperage. I'm not sure if those have built-in protection. I'm not sure, but I'm not taking any chances here. So I went ahead, and again, thanks to Bunny Casino, I'm gonna use here a car module. So this is apparently something that is put in cars, and this is also then waterproof. But here I then have like two how you call it, inputs or something like that. And with these kind of fuses, so this is a 10 amperage fuse. You should even be able to see that or not. So yeah, it says here on the top 10, not sure if you can read it very badly, yeah. But this is then a fuse that I can stick in here, and then on my positive line that comes out of here, I'm just gonna hook this one up in between So I have some additional protection that if it ever should overcharge, overload, short circuit or something like that, that it would just burn my fuse here, which cost me like 3-4 euros, and I can easily replace it if it has to be with a higher fuse or something different. So this is optional. Another optional thing, but probably if you're going all the way, is to have some shrinking plastic, or yeah, whatever you call them again. Just for the record, I speak 5 languages, so sometimes I have issues with the terms. But yeah, shrinking plastic, because we have to go all the way to connect 6 cables in here. So we somehow want to connect them together. You can also go ahead and use some teaser tape, some gaffer tape, teaser tape, however you call them, and then just wrap them around. And then a final thing that would be nice, let me just look through over the board, we got everything. A final thing that would be nice, and this was also a nice suggestion again from Buddy Casino, is some kind of plastic, or yeah, not sure how you call that again. Also, let me quickly Google this. Okay, yeah, foam. So some kind of foam that you can then wrap around the cables and other elements that you're going to add to this speaker. Because if we're having a look at the current speaker, and this is probably nice because of the nice engineers they have there, is every single cable here that we have already built into the speaker is wrapped around the foam. And not even that, all these connections here that we've seen yesterday, they are wrapped in some kind of plastic, something plastic jelly way. And probably this is to prevent vibration between connection points, in order not to create disturbing vibration sounds while playing this one on bass boost level 2 or something like that. So when we do this kind of upgrade, it would probably be wise to wrap these new elements that we're going to create now and add to the Partybox also in some kind of foam. Yeah, and over that, I think that is everything what we need right now, all the equipment. Again, I'm going to link them down below in the video. And yeah, let's get started then with probably adding these cables here, or adding cables to this one by chipping the braces here together with cables, and also probably soldering them onto them, and then connecting this one, making a hole over there so that we have a DC plug to go outside. And as soon as we have that, I'm just going to wrap the foam around it, test it, and if it works, well, then I think we're good to go. Close the speaker, and then we're done. Now we are starting with the first step to convert our Partybox, or modify our Partybox. And what I did is I already made some here, but I'm going through with the last one with you. So what I'm having here is a red cable. I think this is a 2mm. Sorry that you can see it. So I think this is a 2mm cable. Let me zoom in on my hand. Maybe even get some light if I can find it just over here. So this is a 2mm cable, and what I did is I cut off the isolation, but only a length of nearly 1.5mm. It doesn't have to be more than that. Because if it becomes more than 1.5mm, we're going to have issues clamping it in right. So what I'm going to do then from here is, from this box, sorry about all this focus issues, from this box, downsides we have all these clamps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take out one clamp, and then with a scissor I'm gonna take one off here in the center, and now we have this tiny piece here. What I'm gonna do next is I'm just gonna cut off this part, because why am I cutting off this part? So that we only have this part left here. The thing is, I don't have the correct tweezers for these kind of braces, clamps, or however you want to call them. And the final part one over there is just too long, too wide in order for me to put this together correctly. So what I'm doing is I'm taking now the cord here, I'm putting it in there. Let me just turn around here. So I'm putting the cord in there, in the hole, and I can see this is already too long, this forehead here. So I'm just with a scissor gonna cut off 1/10 of a millimeter, maybe a little bit more. There we go. So that it fits in there, and then that the part around, that I just can squeeze it together. But it's not frozen right yet. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my tweezer. I'm not even sure if you call these tweezers, sorry guys for all the terms. But what is very important here now, if you look closely, you can see that here in the front it has like a tiny whip up there. And this is very important that we're not clamping this together, because this is what finally like will stick in and keeps it inside our connector. If we clamp this together, it will loosen up all the time. So if you can do clamping now, don't take the whole thing. Be very cautious with it. Only take the back part of it where you have it on the plastic line here. So and then I'm first going to take one side very slowly, and then the other side. So, and once again, what I'm just going to do here is I'm just going to clamp here together, like not like this where we have the whip there, but this way, because it needs to be very thin in order to go in there. So just for precaution, I'm just making sure that we have it thin. Okay, so now technically speaking, this would be okay to put it inside our connector. However, I'm just going one step further, thanks to the suggestion of Betty Casino, that I'm also going to solder it a little bit onto it. I did a couple of tests now, and I would recommend only to solder the bottom line here, not the top, but only the bottom line, and just a very little bit, because what otherwise could happen is that the solder goes below the whip here, and it will not be able to clip in anymore because it can't go in. So it is very important to leave this space open here, because it is like it has to go up, and when you put it in, it goes down, and then when it falls in, it just jumps up again. But if you have solder there, it's not going to happen, and you're going to have a bad time then. So let's solder this then in, just a little bit, not too much. And also again, just here on the forehead, very little. And that's it. Not much more than that. Let me just get some lights here. Let's just wait until it focuses on my hand. And as you can see, now we have it together. The whip is now very clearly visible. And what I can do now is, just like the others, that I'm putting it in there. So the whip is on the downside, or here it has to be on the upside. And just putting it in there, pushing until we hear a little click. And it is in. So now I have all the cables that I require to connect to the speaker. One thing I would always check double, like don't take my words for it, but I just checked myself. If you have the connector like this, not on this side where you have this part, but if you have the connector like this, and then the bottom line, or yeah, I don't know, like in this position, like you can see the differences from side to side and up and down. But this is positive, these three are the negative aspect. I just double checked it on the speaker, but maybe just for precaution, don't take my words, do it yourself, to check just yourself which side is positive and negative. So from here on, I have now all the cables that I require. What I'm probably gonna do now is, yeah, I think I'm just gonna shrink these three together, and then from there on I'm gonna wrap them around in foam. Then I will add them to a longer cable, maybe like this one, which will then at one point connects to this cable, and then actually it might even be better, I put these together, then I will connect to this fuse here, and then after it comes out I will then connect here to the rest of the cable. We have our cables here. I connected them to the fuse holder or something like that. Currently there's nothing inside there, and then I connected them to a cable so that now we can connect this to the Partybox. Leave this up in the top, but we're probably gonna wrap it in foam, and then this goes on to the side where we then gonna output it with some DC plug. But just to be sure, so right now we should have continuity here on the black plugs and inside here on the brown plug. I'm just gonna take my multimeter just to check that. So, and then we have here the continuity. It should beep. Yes, perfect. So if I'm putting one up here now on the black spot, okay, this is gonna be a little bit tricky to do that, but we should be fine. One on the black spot here, and then one on the brown spot. And we can see we have continuity. If we do that on the red one, it's not gonna work because the fuse is not inside. But if I'm taking now the fuse, and this is again a 10 amperage fuse, I'm gonna open this one, and this is like a waterproof case, so that's why it looks so strange a little bit here. I'm gonna put this one in there. I'm gonna close it, and then once again, this time on red. Okay, on red, and then here the blue one. It looks like I just put this fuse worm in. It's a little bit tough to get this in correctly. So there we have it. And testing it once again, now we should get also a beep on the red one. So we have our red one, and we go over to blue. And there we have it. So just to be sure, all three of them are working. And then on the other one, yes, perfect. So all three lines are working. We got the positive over here, which is going to be the blue one, and we got the negative over here, which is the like the brown one for ground. So we should be fine now to close this one here. We're gonna wrap this up now, but before that, we're just gonna make a quick test to see if the Partybox 100 is also working actually with this setup. As you can see here, our connection that we just made is in there. Here we have the fuse, the whole cable goes out. We put the whole cable out here, and just temporarily I put like a DC plug that I have lying around somewhere. Then we go over to the male DC to female USB-C, and then from the whole USB-C cable here, we're going over to the power bank, whereas the power bank is currently charging at 20 voltage. And as you can see, the Partybox 100 is indicating that it is charging. So the whole thing seems to work. And we have on this power bank, I just tested it, it's 20.3 voltage. So we also just somehow evaded the whole thing of going in battery saving mode. So the Partybox will then run at 100%. And also I can just turn it on here for... So that seems to work. And everything seems also here to work. Beautiful. Okay, the next step that I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna drill a hole in the side panel where I'm gonna then connect the DC plug so we can close the case, and that we only need to connect it from the outside the battery. As you can see, I already fixed everything in here. I'm also going through how and what I did. So these DC plugs that I bought, they somehow had 3 connections. One, where you can see here on the top left, the red cable was 90 degrees to the other 2, whereas the other 2, where you can see here the black cable, was in parallel. So the one you can see in the center here, that one is left. What's going on here is that this has these 3 kinds of different connections, and the one that is 90 degrees, like the single one that is a different direction, is the positive one, and then the other 2, the closest one, or let's say the one most outside, is then the one you need to use as a negative point. You can always double check with a multimeter, put it to some kind of power source with your power bank, and then just check what kind of power you get out of it. I was checking it with my power bank, and yeah, when it was connected with the black one here, so the outer one, I got 20 voltage, whereas with the inner one I only got around like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like until up there something voltage, I can't remember. So the middle one is some kind of resistor. It has some different perks that I can't explain myself. So just that you're aware of, there are like 3 different types. So yeah, then after I put that one through, there usually is a screw that I should have put on the other side here. However, I was not able to put the screw on. Probably it's just like too thick, this plastic, and also the plastic that I burn away just takes away so much space. So I had to glue everything on. I used some normal house glue, And then also at the end I put on some super glue, which is dry now, and therefore we can look from the other side. Yes, it's dry now. And as you can see here, once again, I have glued here onto the speaker again. I'm going to put on very shortly also some super glue on it. And yeah, then I think we should be good to go to put the speaker back together. Before I'm putting the speaker back together, I will also show you how I'm connecting the top one here to the speaker, because again, it is possible that these two here, they become hot, so we need to be careful by like getting the cable out properly without getting too close to this one. So that's going to be the next step, and I'm going to see you then again shortly. And here is now nearly the final product. As you can see, the old JST connection is here in the top. I put some electronic tape on it, and then our custom goes in there. Just gotta double check it's also in totally, yes. And then I put some zipper table around here. I had some additional metal plastic, however you call those things, for plastic bags when you have like fruits and all stuff to close them. It's a similar one to this one here. But I had one lying around that I could then fix there. From there on I had then a zipper that I could then combine these two, and then also an additional zipper to just keep this one in place. Very important now is you can see this black over there, the black thingy that looks around there with a hole in there. Well, the thing is, when we put now the top on it, these ones go in front of that black hole I just showed you, which will then help to keep the screws in place here from the top. So best is, if you do this, try to put as much space in between here as possible. Also that it's not damaging here some kind of cable in whatever sense. I hope it's not going to damage, or I think it's not going to damage, but just to be on the safe side here. And then I put it together. It's going to be difficult putting this one together without having unscrewed the bottom one. It is possible, but just again, it's going to be a little bit difficult. And yeah, from there on, I'm just going to put on the top to do a quick test again, if everything works. And if that's all good, then I'm going to put it together and we should be done. And once again, just like a final test, here we can see we have the power bank. I charge it to 100% now. It still has to go at least to 1 or 2 life cycle that this one is going to be correct and that it's going to be fully charged or usable. But we have the power bank now. It goes in here on our party box, and as soon as I put it in, we can see that the party box is charging by this dot that indicates that it is currently charging. So it seems like the whole thing was successful, but let's see it when it's totally built back together. Also now it seems like we successfully put everything together again. For the final steps, we only need to put on the protection gear and the screw covers. I'm not sure how strong these plastic covers here for the back panel screws are, but I would imagine if you have issues putting them back on again and the glue is not hot enough, then I wouldn't be surprised if when you use a hot air gun or maybe like a hairdryer very hot, just shortly to heat up the glue and put it back on to make it a little bit more sticky again. So I'm gonna do that for these ones that do not stick, and then here I'm just gonna use some normal house glue, just a tiny little bit to make these paddings stick again. And then finally I'm done and I'll show you then the final product. And here we have the final result. of the modification of the Partybox 100. I would consider it calling now Partybox 100 Pro. We're running on the power bank, as we've seen many times before. Down here we have the connection. Up here it's charging, and it all fitted nice and tightly in there. Also just a small FYI, when you put in the screws here, just don't over screw it, because again, like, it is one of these compressed woods which are like easily you can over torque here. But other than that, yeah, turned out great. So guys, I hope you enjoyed it and had fun watching this guide and tutorial how to modify and upgrade your Partybox 100 into a better party speaker. And yeah, I think that's it. So I'm gonna link, as I said also in the beginning, I'm gonna link the tools that I used or all the equipment that you need in the description below. And if you're going for this base OS, what is it, 20 volt, 20,000 milliampere per volt battery, then it's also suggested to have one of these more performant USB-C charger. I was lucky enough to find one here in the trash with 9 voltage and 3 amperage charging. Otherwise you can also just use a MacBook Pro C charger, which I also luckily found at a trash room. But yeah, I hope you're gonna succeed with your build too. Bye.